thing that I left away with today was I thought the receivers won a lot today, man, in terms of not just getting open, but down the yard, stretching the field, man. I'm talking 20, 30 yards downfield, but great separation where you could look and see, hey, man, that him. Two dudes very clearly to me that were separating themselves was George Pickens and the other was Calvin Austin. Like watching them, man, stretch the yard versus multiple guys, multiple corners that we've had out there, and not young corners either. They definitely were having success. They were having their way at times, man. It was really impressive. And watching them work, doing some of the drill work also, I definitely underestimated how much, like how fast and how good Calvin Austin's hands were. So watching him today, like I said, just more intently, seeing him getting out of his breaks, it's a real belief that, he is going to be able to cause some issues when you're talking about him in the slot, just because of how fluid he already is as a route runner when I'm watching him. But watching his hands, man, I thought the three dudes that really jumped off to me today in terms of just hand catching, George Pickens, Calvin Austin, and your boy Anthony Miller. Anthony Miller, bro.
My boy.
You've been hollering about him since when we had picked him up. You was hollering about him.
Someone to watch out for.
No, without a doubt. But watching Anthony Miller and Calvin Austin, it was dope because they're very similar when you're watching them. They're very similar in their build, but the difference is obviously Calvin Austin and his speed. But watching them both, I'm like, man, I can see either one of you guys being that slot receiver for us. I'm leaning a little bit more Calvin just because of the speed element. But man, I thought that both of those dudes, man, really showed nice, consistent ability catching. I'm talking nice, hard, footballs away from their body while they're going against the grain, which isn't always easy. And I thought that they were fundamentally sound in terms of consistently looking that ball in, consistently having the eyes on it. Some of the stuff that we've talked about with Deontay in the past, when he was really having those drop issues, it was like, man, it's not that he doesn't know how to catch. It's just more so a lapse in judgment, just a quick
looking to make the next move.
Absolutely. Instead of securing the catch first and then going on. So, when I was watching Calvin, I'm watching Anthony do those things consistently, George as well. I thought that really jumped off the screen to me, man. And it was something that I was really impressed with. And they did it consistently, and they have been doing it already in practice. It was just today I said, man, I really wanted to just hyper focus in on them and just watch how they worked and stuff.
Was that because this week they were going to start opening up a little bit more for quarterbacks? Because you mentioned that last week.
Yeah, so last week it was a lot of timing routes. It was a lot of to the flats. It was a lot of stop routes, which are essentially 5 to 10 yards where you run full speed and then the receiver will just stop on the dime, turn around, ball should be there. They weren't really stretching the field, but that's on par with with Coach Tomlin and ultimately how he likes to just introduce offense, defense, and the schemes and the concepts and stuff like that. But today, because it started in week 2, we knew, or at least I did, that they were going to be taking some more shots down the field. They were going to really be challenging the defense. And seeing how the corners had success last week, I definitely felt today that they took their L's today, man. But the thing was, it was unfortunate because the endings weren't as pleasant as I would have liked them to been in terms of actually completing these. There weren't drops, but the ball wasn't consistently where it needed to be. We'll just leave it at that. But as a whole, though,
was it Mason?
It was multiple quarterbacks that took part.
It wasn't Pickett, right?
It was
definitely not Pickett.
It was multiple quarterbacks that took part in today's affair. Okay? I'm going to leave it at that. Last week, it was a great week for them. I thought that they were dinking, dotting, ding, 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 spraying that thing the way you want to see it spray. In fact, you saw it. I even sent you the vid. Yeah. Today, it wasn't one of those moments for the group. But that's a part of this time of year. And I do enjoy that, actually. I want to see, okay, when you have great days, cool. It's easy to put together another great day. But what happens when you have a bad day? What happens when that day you're not hitting on every throw? You're slightly over. You're slightly off. How do you respond the following day? So that's why I'm even more excited to see what it looks like tomorrow when I'm out there, because it's like, yeah, they're going to look at this same tape. They're going to see these same throws, and they're going to say, okay, man, well, what are we going to do? Who's going to rise? And that's the part for me that I always enjoy about this time of year. But And that's the same goes with the DBs as well, because last week I thought the DBs were really on their stuff. I thought the DBs won a lot of those days in terms of the practices that I was at. I thought that they were just the more physical, the more confident, and just making more plays on the ball. Whereas today, that top was getting taken off a little bit. And that's the part where it's like, okay, we all know we can't have those type of plays. So how do you respond to it? What is going to be your adjustment? How do you adapt to the speed, the big speed of George Pickens? How do you adapt to the crazy small speed of Calvin Austin? Because that's some of the stuff you're going to have to deal with. And if our DBs can't handle that, well, we're going to have to change how we play our coverages in a sense. But I think they'll be able to adjust.